It is 9 o'clock. Thank you for watching Denver 7. I'm Jessica Crawford. Breaking news, one person is now shot after an officer-involved shooting in Boulder. Denver 7's Brandon Richard is live at the scene now, where investigators are actively looking for more answers in this incident.
Yes, that's right, Jessica. And police say this all happened on Pennsylvania Avenue in University Hill. Police have cordoned off part of Pennsylvania Avenue, and you can see here they also have cordoned off part of 13th Street where we are. And as you said, police remain here on the scene several hours after this shooting happened. One suspect is in custody, but police tell us right now they're still searching for multiple suspects. Here's what they say happened around 1:30 this morning. They say officers were responding to a call in that area, Pennsylvania Avenue. While they were checking that out, they received a report about guns in the area just around the corner from where those officers were. The police chief says since officers were so close, they decided to walk around the corner, and that's when she says they encountered multiple suspects actively shooting. She says one of the officers fired his weapon, hitting one of the suspects, an adult man, in the arm. His injuries described as non-life threatening. Now, no officers were injured. Earlier, the police chief held a press conference. Here's what she said about the situation and why it could have been worse.
I can tell you if the police officers weren't on foot patrol in this area and they actively engaged the suspect, that it could have been a lot worse than what we're seeing right now.
And the police chief saying she's thankful that no officers were injured. The chief says other suspects ran from the area. She says they're looking for multiple suspects this morning. Unclear the exact number. At least 3 different types of firearms were used in the shooting. They have recovered one of those weapons. The officer who fired their weapon has been placed on routine administrative leave. Police continue to investigate, and they're asking anyone with information to contact them. And again, you can see active scene remains here. Unclear right now just how long police will be out here, but we'll be out here and continue to try to find more information. As soon as we do, we'll bring that to you. For now, we're live in Boulder. Brandon Richard, Denver 7.
Thank you for those updates, Brandon. Well, this incident is just one day after an officer-involved shooting that took place in Aurora. APD says that they were chasing 2 men accused of robbing a 7-Eleven in Aurora before officers shot and killed one of those suspects near DIA. Police had to use a pit maneuver to stop the suspect's car. Police say that one of the suspects ran away while threatening officers with a gun. 3 officers then shot and killed him. The second suspect was taken into custody. 1 officer was taken to the hospital with injuries from that pit maneuver, and the officer is expected to be okay. We do have a major update for you now in the murder investigation of a 14-year-old boy. That killing taking place in Denver this summer. Police have arrested a 17-year-old in connection with the brutal murder of Jojo Aragon. He was found stabbed, beaten, and shot in a park near the Southwest Rec Center in Denver on August 8th. That was just 2 days before his 15th birthday, and we now know that the suspect went to school with Jojo last year, and the two had been talking this summer about the sale of a gun. Police confirm the day of the sale is when that murder took place, and neighbors say that that killing has rocked their community.
It scares the hell out of me. I have a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old boy, and it scares me to death. And when this happened to Jojo, this rocked all of us to our core. We just couldn't even imagine that a child at 14 years old could be killed in our neighborhood.
The Denver DA will decide whether to charge the suspect in this case as an adult. And after the murder of Jojo Aragon, neighbors are calling for more security cameras and safety measures around that rec center. And Denver Parks and Recreation is working to make that happen. The department is hoping for an additional $1.6 million to upgrade security. They're making that part of their budget request for the next year. And they say crime like vandalism and even fires set in the restrooms is a growing concern at Denver Parks. They want additional funding to pay for more park rangers and to buy additional vehicles and bikes. About $900,000 of that money would go towards adding cameras at some of their facilities.
We also are looking at purchasing some mobile cameras where we can actually move them out and to areas and be very fluid and be able to address situations as they come up.
And if this additional funding is approved, Parks and Recreation says that it will determine which parks and facilities get cameras, and they're going to base that off of the total amount of crimes that they're seeing in those areas. Turning now to the great outdoors, it is peak leaf peeping season right now. And what about leaves, though, with snow? Well, that's the sign a lot of people are taking in this weekend. These series of pictures, they're from Guanella Pass outside of Georgetown. Meteorologist Stacy Donaldson is in for Katie this morning. Stacy, it is just crazy seeing snow at this point. I feel like we just got done with summer.
I was going to say, a couple weeks ago, remember we said, oh, I can't believe we're talking about snow. It's in the 90s. And now it feels like fall and is looking like fall. Our peak viewing dates now shifting south of I-70 here for watching those leaves change to pure gold. As we get into the middle of October, that's when we'll start to see the leaves changing into southern Colorado. Right now, we have temperatures in the 50s, a lot of cloud cover out there across the Front Range, and calm winds. We are expecting showers to come in from the west. They're already building through the higher elevations where we've had some wet weather early this morning. Temperatures in the 50s here for our area, 30s and 40s for the mountains. And if you are tailgating at home watching the Bronco game today, 63 degrees at 11 a.m. We'll have 68 degrees by 1 p.m. and a few showers late in the day.
Ian has lightened up after making landfall as a Category 4 storm in Florida and a Category 1 storm in South Carolina last week. Dozens of people are now dead and rescues continue in Florida. Parts of the southwestern coast of the state are just unrecognizable. Just take a look at that flooding there, with an estimated 900,000 people still without power. One of the hardest hit areas, though, is Sanibel Island, where the only road to get there from the mainland is now in pieces.
Part of the dining room roof collapsed right into the dining room. That's when we started to get concerned.
I bet.
And we stayed there. We had to spend the night there.
Officials say that could take years to rebuild. And Denver 7 Gives is partnering with the Scripps Howard Fund for hurricane relief. Our teams in Florida are going to work with local organizations there to make sure that your donations go to those who really, really need them. And we are making it easy to donate. You can text STORM to 50155. Just follow the prompts there. You can also scan the QR code on your screen or visit denver7.com/hurricane relief. All right, Broncos country, countdown to kickoff is on. The Broncos facing the Raiders in Las Vegas this afternoon. That is starting at 2:25. And while the Broncos do technically have a winning record so far, Broncos insider Troy Rink says the team is not where it should be.
Listen, it's embarrassing. The Broncos have one red zone touchdown. So I ask, is it time for Russell Wilson to stop trying to be Drew Brees and get out of the pocket and use his legs to make big plays?
Anytime you're in something that's so new, whether it be him, on this team with all these new players, with new coaching staff, it's going to take a little time. It's not just going to get up there and roll right away. And that's just the reality of it. There's some great moments, and we just need those to be more consistent.
I've been on a lot of teams, played a lot of sports, played a lot of games, a lot of big moments and everything else. And there's a special feeling in this locker room, a special feeling about where we're going, where we're headed, and we believe in that.
The Broncos defense does everything well right now, and frankly, it starts with Pat Surtain II. He turns receivers into Chick-fil-A. They're never open on Sundays. His matchup against Davante Adams, that could determine who wins this game.
I don't want to give up too much of the game plan, but it's, he's a heck of a cover guy, and Davante's a tough cover for anybody, even the best corners in the league, and we just got to change up the looks on them. So,
Broncos fans will have extra venom for this one with Josh McDaniels on the other side as coach of the Raiders. He's 5-20 in his NFL career as the guy in charge. That's this week's Rink and File. For Denver 7, I'm Troy Rink.
There are more people who are headed to the moon.
I know we all feel humbled and honored just to be a small part of that.
When this SpaceX crew is blasting off to the International Space Station.